Ruddigore, Halas Batchelor's 55-minute adaptation of Gilbert and Sullivan's 1887 opera, commenced production in 1964 and was finally completed 3 years later. Written and directed by D'Oyly Batchelor, it was the first opera to be adapted to an extended animated film. Plans to rework the Mikado, Pirates of Penzance and HMS Pinafore were rejected by the D'Oyly Carte Opera Company on the basis that the notoriously particular and purist Gilbert and Sullivan audience would not be able to accept these classics in abridged form. Even Ruddigore, though less commercially successful than the other operas, was a risk. This was reflected in the problematic production process, subject to a number of delays in which the musical and narrative continuity became subject to constant revision. Ruddigore, also known as The Witch's Curse, was Gilbert and Sullivan's 10th collaboration, opening at the Savoy Theatre in 1887 and running for 288 performances. In typically witty style, Gilbert parodies melodramatic conventions, making heroes less than heroic, villains more than successful, and happy endings subject to many compromises. By the time it was made as an animation in the mid-1960s, it echoed the more ambiguous moral and social climate of the era, and works almost as a parody of a parody.
Our story begins with the villain of the piece, my ancestor, Sir Rupert Murgatroyd, 1st Baronet of Ruddigore, and Lord and Master of Red Herring.
This then is the rather convoluted story of Ruddigore. The hero, Robin Oakapple, is deeply in love with Red Herring village beauty Rose Maybud.
Good day, Mistress Rose.
You were about to say?
But is too shy to pursue the virtuous heroine.
Shy, nervous, modest, retiring, diffident.
No one is aware, however, that he guards a terrible secret.
20 years ago I fled my home and concealed myself in this innocent village under the name of Robin Oakapple.
He is actually Sir Ruthven Murgatroyd, Baronet of Ruddigore, whose family has been cursed by a witch to commit a wicked crime every day or die a horrible death. Robin has feigned his own demise to escape the curse and has been inherited by his brother Despard.
Oh, why am I moody and sad?
Robin's foster brother Richard returns from his heroic sea voyages
Friend,
and encourages
home
Robin's
again
pursuit
after
of Rose.
10 long years at sea. Oh,
Why, Lord love ye, Rob, what's the matter?
Dick, I love Rose Maybud and love in vain.
You love in vain?
Though he secretly wants her for himself. Rose does choose Robin, however, and a vengeful Richard tells Despard that Robin lives.
He lives in this very village under the name of Robin Oakapple, and he's a-gonna marry Rose Maybud this very day. Living alive and going to marry Rose Maybud? My elder brother lives. Free at last!
Despard confronts Robin and transfers the curse back, prompting the ghosts of his ancestors to return and admonish him. Though Robin agrees to embrace the curse, he finds a clever solution to his problem.
Rose, if I should turn out not to be a bad baronet after all, how would you love me then?
Madly, passionately.
Oh, my darling!
We're now going to watch Vivian Halas, the daughter of D'Oyly Batchelor and John Halas, talking to Tony Guy, one of the lead animators on the film, about its making.
I believe that my mother, D'Oyly Batchelor, had actually worked for over a year before you even saw any of this.
Right, yes, I should think, looking at all this, yes, I think so.
Well, we're very lucky because not only have we got things like her original layouts for the film here, but we've also got a huge amount of work, preparatory work, and even the cells from the collection of Harold Whittaker, who I believe worked with you.
He was a senior animator, yes.
Right,
yes.
so you worked together, and
yes.
there were other people, presumably, who animated as well.
There was one, yes, Tony Whitehouse.
Oh, really?
And then the 3 or 4 assistants.
Mm-hmm. So basically just 3 animators on the whole film.
Yes.
Lovely drawings, yes.
And you've got the date on there.
Yes.
Of the costume.
Mm-hmm. A ghost. And there's the witch of the witch's curse.
You've met some of the characters in that opening scene, but now we introduce you to the hero, Robin Oakapple, and the heroine, Rose Maybud, charming Victorian names. Here's Adam, Robin's faithful servant.
I can see that Joy even put in little bits of timing, and she's already working out the songs.
Take it from me that of all the afflictions accursed, with which a man saddled and hampered and addled, a diffident nature's the worst.
Joy Batchelor embraced the challenge of the film, actually a 1-hour television special, recognising the profound difficulty of reducing the opera by over half its original length, while responding to the condition that no words or songs could be altered or rewritten. The D'Oyly Carte Opera Company, for all its prevarication and anxiety about the project, nevertheless saw the film as having cultural importance, particularly in reaching new audiences who may not have encountered Gilbert and Sullivan before.
Working not very far from the Savoy Theatre in London's Soho Square, the distinguished filmmakers Halas and Batchelor have created anew the characters of the opera.
If the opera went on for 2.5 hours, but I mean, a lot of this wouldn't have contributed to telling the story, so something had to go out of it, obviously. It's amazing how much is out.
Yes. Well, 55 minutes, I guess it's not long, is it, to tell the whole story?
We were the victims of circumstances. That is one of our blameless dances.
Usually, a strong story relies on a sympathetic lead character and appropriate expositional dialogue. But here again, the story was in the song, making it harder to understand. Even W.S. Gilbert himself said that the music overwhelmed the words sometimes. This led Batchelor ultimately to employ voiceover to help with narrative clarity and continuity.
And ever since, the curse has been faithfully handed down with the title. Sir Rupert's unlucky descendants came to be known as the Bad Baronets of Ruddigore, as indeed they are, even to this very day.
The D'Oyly Carte also performed the piece to help the animators with the choreography of the dances and the proper integration of sound and image, an important preoccupation in all the work of the Halas Batchelor studio.
The dance sequences were filmed and we didn't rotoscope it, let's trace it off. Well, we just used the film and analysed it, because rotoscoping never really works, it always deadens the action.
Can you explain what rotoscoping is a bit?
Yes, it's projection of the film onto a screen, and each frame is traced off and used as animation. In theory, it ought to be perfect, but in practice, it never really works. It always looks stilted because it doesn't contain the exaggeration that you need in drawn animation. I mean, I've always said that with animation, you exaggerate it as much as you think it needs and then double it.
Crucially though, the animation itself always works in the service of the expression of the emotion in the music and enhances the narrative with close attention to the gestures and attitudes of the characters, especially, for example, when Robin metamorphoses back into Sir Riven.
These characters were really lend themselves to animation because they change, they develop from a goodie to a baddie, say, and back again.
Yes.
The exaggeration at the heart of the caricaturial style suits the performance of the piece, dramatising the often static aspects of traditional operas and enhancing the parodic and melodramatic aspects.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you got the effects with the ghosts?
Well, it's a double exposure. It's run through the camera once without the characters, just background. Then it's run through again at a percentage with the characters. Both takes adding up to 100%. what I would have liked to see, quite honestly, was more detail on the background. I think these backgrounds are a little bit too plain because there isn't enough detail.
Oh, you can't see behind them.
You
yes.
can't, I mean, you don't know that some of them, you don't even know that they are transparent because there's no detail behind them.
The limited animation used in the film was highly correspondent to the minimalist, more cost-effective kind of cartoon that was being produced in the United States and by independent artists in Eastern Europe.
One of the things I really like about it is this block of bridesmaids who are professional bridesmaids who are waiting for a marriage to happen.
Yeah.
And I like the way you've treated it. You know, instead of them being this block on stage, you've done things like when they come down the stairs and...
Well, we've tried to make them flow. We treated them as an entity. They're not individual characters. I mean, the word marriage only had to be hinted at, and in they came, all singing and dancing. And,
I can see here that, in fact, the line is all done in Chinograph pencil.
Yeah.
This is a technique that you developed, or Harold Whittaker developed.
Yes, on the Habertail Foo series. And we quite like working it because our original drawings are actually photographed and seen on screen. It doesn't have to go through another tracing process. Plus the fact, from the economy point of view, we were able to put a lot more animation into the film than if otherwise it had to be traced as well.
One of the things that the critics said is that it was limited animation, but I'm not sure that I agree. When you look at it, it's very lively. And,
well, it's limited compared with what?
Yes, well, Snow White.
Well, yes, quite. But it was a budget. I mean, there was a limited budget on the thing, but there's a lot more animation in it than otherwise would have been because of this Chinograph technique.
Because here you've got his whole face. Oh no, not his whole face.
No,
parts of him are animated at different rates.
Well, that's on that particular one. You wanted the. He's not doing anything in particular except talk. So you can put his head onto what they call a held cell, and just animate the mouth. Again, that's economy. And earlier on in the thing, you can see it's just hats and eyes because that's all that you wanted to move. In full animation, you wouldn't do that. He'd be all moving on the go all the time.
Full animation in the Disney style had essentially passed with the closure of Hollywood studios' animation units and the advent of the TV era. Critics were to comment that the film thus resembled a combination of the caricaturial drawings of Ronald Searle and the more decorative work of fauvist Raoul Dufay.
One of the critics, I forget which paper it was, The Observer or something, said that the style reminded him of Ronald Searle meets Dufay. I thought, well, there's nothing wrong with that.
A compliment rather than a criticism.
Yes, I would have said it was a compliment too.
Yes.
Batchelor herself admitted that the first half of the film took too long to establish the character and situation, but little could be done to change this in the light of the conditions imposed upon her. Only in the second half of the film is there a genuine justification for animation in the more fantastical and supernatural sequences.
With a kiss perhaps on her lantern chaps and a grisly grim good night till the welcome knell of the midnight bell rings for
Ruddigore, though not one of Halas Batchelor's most famous achievements, is nevertheless one of its finest. For the non-Gilbert and Sullivan fan, there is much to cheer about. For the Gilbert and Sullivan fan, there is much to engage in afresh. I hope you enjoy it.